The Haunting of Blackwood Forest, a tale of the terrifying tree demon. Chapter 1, The Forest. The forest was ancient, untouched by the hands of man. It was a place of natural beauty, where the trees stretched up to the sky and the wildlife roamed free. But there was something dark lurking within the forest, a malevolent force that had been there for centuries. It was a tree demon, a creature of myth and legend that had long been forgotten by most people. But those who lived near the forest knew better, and they warned their children to never venture into the woods alone. Despite the warnings, a group of campers decided to explore the forest. They set up camp in a clearing, surrounded by towering trees. They laughed and joked as they set up their tents, unaware of the danger that lay ahead. As night fell, the campers sat around a campfire, roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories. They were having a good time, but there was a sense of unease in the air. They all felt it, but no one wanted to say anything. As the night wore on, the campers began to hear strange noises coming from the woods. It sounded like something was moving through the trees, rustling the leaves and snapping branches. They tried to ignore it, telling themselves that it was just an animal, but the noises grew louder and more frequent. Then, they heard a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the forest. It was a sound that chilled them to the bone, and they knew that they were in danger. They quickly packed up their things and prepared to leave, but as they were leaving, one of them saw something moving in the darkness. Something that looked like a tree, but was definitely not a tree. They all froze, staring at the figure as it emerged from the shadows. It was a creature made of wood and leaves, with glowing eyes that shone like embers in the dark. It was the tree demon, and it had come for them. Chapter 2, The Warning. The campers were frozen in fear as the tree demon approached them. They could feel the malevolent energy emanating from it, and they knew that they were in grave danger. One of the campers, a young woman named Emily, stepped forward, trying to reason with the creature. "Please, we didn't mean to disturb you. We'll leave now and never come back. Just let us go, please." But the tree demon was not interested in negotiation. It let out a terrifying roar, and its branches sprouted long, sharp thorns. The campers realized that they were trapped, and they began to run in different directions, hoping to evade the creature. As they fled, they could hear the tree demon chasing after them, its roots stretching out like tendrils to ensnare them. They could feel the thorns tearing at their skin, and they knew that they had to find a way to fight back. They regrouped, huddled together as the tree demon loomed over them. It let out a guttural growl, and they could see that it was preparing to attack. They had to act fast, or they would be killed. One of the campers, a man named Ben, grabbed a large branch and swung it at the tree demon. The blow connected, but it barely seemed to faze the creature. It retaliated, striking back with its own branches, and Ben was thrown to the ground. The other campers tried to help him, but the tree demon was too strong. It grabbed them with its roots, pulling them close to its thorns. They screamed in terror, and it seemed that all was lost. But then, a voice called out from the darkness. "Stay back, you foul beast." It was an old woman, dressed in rags, carrying a staff. She stepped forward, and the tree demon recoiled, as if in fear. The old woman motioned for the campers to follow her, and they did, running as fast as they could through the forest. As they ran, she explained to them the legend of the tree demon, warning them never to enter the forest again. They emerged from the woods, shaken but alive. They thanked the old woman, but she merely nodded, warning them one last time before disappearing into the night. The campers knew that they had narrowly escaped with their lives, but they also knew that they would never forget the horror that they had faced in the forest. Chapter 3, The Curse. After their encounter with the tree demon, the campers returned to civilization. They were physically unharmed, but emotionally scarred from the experience. They tried to put the incident behind them, but they couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. It wasn't long before strange things began to happen. They started having nightmares, in which the tree demon appeared, taunting them with its glowing eyes and thorny branches. They also began to notice that the forest seemed to be calling to them, as if it wanted them to return. At first, they tried to ignore the feelings, but they soon became overwhelming. They couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything but the forest. It was as if the tree demon had put a curse on them, one that they couldn't break. One by one, they gave in to the call of the forest. They returned to the woods, hoping to confront the tree demon and end the curse. But each time, they were met with more terror and pain. The tree demon seemed to be growing stronger, more powerful with each passing day. They tried to warn others, to tell them of the danger that lurked in the woods, but no one would listen. The legend of the tree demon had long been forgotten, and people thought that the campers were just making up stories. As the curse deepened, the campers realized that they were doomed. They could feel the tree demon's influence over them, controlling their thoughts and actions. They knew that they would never escape its grasp. In a moment of desperation, they decided to seek out the old woman who had saved them before. They knew that she was their only hope, their last chance at breaking the curse. But they also knew that it would be dangerous. The tree demon would not take kindly to their interference. They gathered their courage and set out into the forest, hoping to find the old woman before it was too late. Chapter 4: The Old Woman. The campers wandered through the forest, searching for the old woman who had warned them about the tree demon. They didn't know where to look or how to find her, but they had a feeling that she would appear when they needed her most. As they walked deeper into the woods, they could feel the presence of the tree demon growing stronger. The trees around them twisted and contorted, as if they were alive. The air grew thick with the scent of decay and rot. They walked for what felt like hours, until they came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a small cottage, surrounded by a garden of herbs and flowers. They knew that this was the old woman's home. They approached the cottage cautiously, calling out for the old woman. There was no answer, but they could hear a rustling inside. They pushed open the door and stepped inside. The cottage was dimly lit, with candles flickering on every surface. They could see the old woman sitting in a rocking chair, staring at them with intense eyes. She didn't say a word, but motioned for them to sit down. They told her about the curse, about the nightmares and the call of the forest. The old woman listened intently, nodding her head. When they were finished, she spoke. The tree demon is a powerful force, one that cannot be easily defeated. But there is a way to break the curse. You must find the heart of the forest and destroy it. Only then will the curse be lifted. The campers didn't know what she meant, but they knew that they had to try. They thanked the old woman and left the cottage, determined to find the heart of the forest and end the curse. As they walked away, the old woman watched them, knowing that they were walking into danger. She could feel the tree demon's presence growing stronger, and she feared for the campers' lives. But she also knew that they were the only hope for stopping the monster. Chapter 5: The Heart of the Forest. The campers wandered through the forest, searching for the heart of the forest. They didn't know what it was or where to find it, but they knew that they had to try. The trees around them seemed to grow taller and thicker, as if they were trying to block their way. As they walked, they heard strange whispers and cackles, as if the forest was alive with malevolent spirits. They could see the glowing eyes of the tree demon in the distance, watching them. But they pressed on, knowing that they had to find the heart of the forest. After hours of wandering, they came to a clearing in the forest. In the center of the clearing stood a massive tree, its trunk wider than any they had ever seen. It was covered in thorns and vines, and its branches twisted and writhed like living things. They knew that this was the heart of the forest, the source of the tree demon's power. They approached the tree cautiously, but as they got closer, they could feel a strange energy emanating from it. It was like a pulse, sending waves of fear and pain through their bodies. One of the campers reached out to touch the tree, and as soon as his fingers brushed the thorny bark, he screamed. The thorns had dug into his skin, drawing blood. The other campers tried to pull him away, but he was stuck. Suddenly, the tree began to move, its branches reaching out to ensnare the campers. They tried to fight back, but it was like fighting against an entire forest. They were overwhelmed, caught in the grip of the tree demon's power. As they struggled, they heard a voice calling out to them. It was the old woman, calling them back to her cottage. They didn't know how she had found them, but they knew that they had to get away from the heart of the forest. With a burst of adrenaline, they managed to break free from the tree's grasp and run towards the old woman's cottage. They could feel the tree demon's power chasing them, but they didn't look back. They had to make it to the old woman's cottage, or they would be lost forever. Chapter 6: The Old Woman's Potion. The campers stumbled into the old woman's cottage, panting and sweating. They collapsed onto the floor, exhausted and terrified. The old woman was there, waiting for them, and she immediately set to work on healing their wounds. She mixed a potion from the herbs in her garden, chanting an ancient incantation. The potion glowed with a soft green light, and as she applied it to their wounds, they could feel the pain receding. As they rested, the old woman told them about the history of the forest. She explained that the tree demon had been summoned by a group of witches many years ago, in a ritual to gain eternal life. But the tree demon had grown too powerful, and the witches had lost control. The demon had taken over the forest, and anyone who entered its domain was at its mercy. The old woman also revealed that she had been one of the witches who had summoned the demon. She had been young and foolish, and had no idea what kind of monster she was dealing with. But now, she was determined to stop the tree demon, no matter what the cost. She mixed another potion, this one made from a rare flower that only grew deep in the heart of the forest. She handed the potion to the campers, telling them that it was the only thing that could kill the tree demon. The campers were hesitant to go back into the forest, but they knew that they had to try. They drank the potion and felt a surge of strength and courage. They thanked the old woman and set out once more, determined to end the tree demon's reign of terror. Chapter 7: The Final Battle. The campers made their way back into the heart of the forest, the potion giving them renewed strength and courage. They knew that the final battle with the tree demon was approaching, and they were determined to end its reign of terror once and for all. As they entered the clearing with the massive tree, they could see the tree demon waiting for them. Its branches reached out like claws, ready to ensnare them. But the campers were ready. They charged towards the tree demon, their weapons drawn. The battle was fierce and brutal. The tree demon was incredibly powerful, and its branches seemed to be everywhere at once. The campers dodged and weaved, slashing at the demon with their weapons. But the demon was too strong. Just when it seemed like all was lost, the old woman appeared. She had followed the campers into the forest, determined to help them defeat the demon. She chanted an ancient spell, and a wave of energy surged through the clearing. The tree demon screamed in agony as the energy washed over it. Its bark began to crack and peel away, revealing a pulsing, red heart. The campers knew that this was their chance. They charged forward, attacking the heart with all their might. The tree demon thrashed and convulsed, trying to shake them off. But they held on, hacking away at the heart. Finally, with a final burst of energy, they plunged their weapons into the heart. The tree demon let out a deafening scream, and its branches fell to the ground, lifeless. The campers collapsed, exhausted and relieved. The old woman walked over to the tree demon's heart and muttered a final incantation. The heart burst into flames and disintegrated, leaving nothing behind. The forest was quiet once more, and the campers knew that the tree demon was gone forever. They gathered their things and made their way back to civilization, forever changed by their harrowing experience in the forest.